Weight loss solutions are not one size fits all. Hers makes it simpler to get started and stick with a weight loss plan, backed by expert-guided online care that puts your weight loss goals first. These include oral medication kits or compounded GLP-1 injections. Through Hers, pricing for oral medication kits start at just $69 a month for a 10-month plan when paid in full upfront. No hidden fees, no membership fees. You shouldn't have to go out of your way to feel like yourself. Hers brings expert care straight to you with 100% online access to personalized treatment plans that put your goals first. Reach your weight loss goals with help through Hers. Get started at forhers.com/4u to access affordable, doctor-trusted weight loss plans. That's forhers.com/4u, forhers.com/4u. Paid for by Hims and Hers Health. Weight loss by Hers is not available everywhere. Compounded products are not FDA approved or verified for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription required. Restrictions at forhers.com. Apply.
It's really cool.
Bonjour, hello, and welcome to the Rosbif Rugby podcast, your one-stop shop for all things French rugby, Top 14, Pro League, Nationale, Champions Cup, Challenge Cups, French national teams, most importantly of all the brilliant towns, cities, bars, restaurants, fans, stadia, people, the characters that make the French game so fantastic. Rob, it's bright and early, Tuesday morning. Your new backdrop is the foliage is growing, looking very, very green behind you.
It looks congested, doesn't it? which is about, well, chatting before, both of us are also congested. So apologies for any strange noises as we battle with the autumnal turn of the seasons. But yeah, bit of a dicky throat for me. You said you're a little bit bunged up.
Yeah, classic case of seasonal change. A couple of star
one weekend
behind you. Is that Rob?
It is, yeah. Just in case I get thirsty at 7 a.m.
Superb. All right. A little, maybe an update for the listeners, Rob. Those who listened last week. I'm not saying we go into full detail here because the story is still being told. But there was a bit of a sad reflection last week upon leaving behind a new and old Montauban jumper and a few other bits and pieces in a bag at Ernest Vallon. But there's updates. There's a ray of light at the end of the tunnel.
It has been found. The bag has been found. The cap, I think it's just the cap that I left in the hotel room, has been found, and we are awaiting some correspondence from a well-known Toulouse figure to hopefully pick them up and then take them to the hotel and get them sent back. I'm not counting my chickens until they've hatched, if I'm honest. But there is hope for the jumpers. They've been found. We have very kindly. It's a bizarre story, but they may be returned. I don't want to. Maybe at the end of the season, if they haven't turned up, we can be like, oh well, this is what was going to happen.
Yeah. And if they do turn up, we'll spill the beans.
And we've potentially got an amazing podcast guest. I don't know where. But yeah, there is hope.
It's not Antoine Dupont yet, but we don't know whether he may enter stage left as part of this tale.
One of the lads might help out. Tony D. Maybe he can present them to me like he did those shirts with Tim Cook.
There must be someone in that Toulouse side who started at Montemont for a bit of kind of symmetry, handing over some Toulouse.
Yeah, there must be someone. That's a good point. To be honest, it probably all came through the academy.
Probably.
Or Colomiers or Blognac, but yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, to be continued, that one. But speaking of Toulouse, little naff segue. It was La Nuit de Rugby last night, and for the first time in about 15,000 years, Antoine Dupont was not recognised as either top 14 or French Rugby Player of the Year. But there was some big English representation. The main man, fresh off the back of his Golden Berth win from last season.
He's done the double, the much coveted double.
Jack Willis. Amazing. I mean, not entirely, as I guess we kind of suggest there, not entirely unsuspecting after a quite remarkable season, playing pretty much the full clip in an amazing Toulouse side. but nonetheless, a pretty remarkable feat to go over and be top 14 player of the year. Rob, you must be proud of it validates Rosbif Rugby. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, it's a victory for us, Richard. Do you know what? I was just looking at it. There have been, of the last 5 years, the winner of the best player of the top 14 has either been English or Antoine Dupont.
There you go. Was Mercer the only other one? Is it
Mercer
times 3?
yeah.
And yeah, okay. Which is feels even more remarkable, doesn't it? Like given Montpellier and I guess maybe where Mercer had come from, it was proper freak show stuff the way he played that.
In fact, Richard, here you go. The last French winner, so I'm not looking at it in order, it's done by like club. The last French winner that wasn't Antoine Dupont was in 2011.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
And I bet you can't guess who it is.
No,
they played for Montpellier at the time.
It's always it's usually back row or back, isn't it?
It's fly half.
Tranduc.
It was Francois Tranduc, yeah.
Wow.
That's a mad stat, that.
That's
Do you want to hear them then? Colby 2019, Botica 2018.
Which is also remarkable, as we discussed, given they came bottom.
Victor Vito 2017, Johan Gerson 2016, Parise 2015, Gitto 2014, Kokot 2013, Masoe 2012, Cass 2 years in a row.
Wow.
Tranduc 2011, Para 2010.
Very cool.
So no Wilkinson, remarkably, either.
Yeah, that's quite something. Yeah. Well, big congratulations to Jack Willis. There were I've seen a little bit of footage, a few friends of the pod, I think, were there last night. Charles Richardson, Ilse Daffith. I think Will Kelleher of the Times was over there as well. I very kind of studiously brought up a list of the winners, but it's crashed on my laptop. So Rob, are you able to give us a little rundown?
Yeah, so best player of Pro Day Dirt was perhaps unsurprisingly given the hype, but didn't make our 15, wasn't on our shortlist. Jerome Bosville, he outdid Gabin Law, who I think was our top. Sam Davis was our Pro Day Player of the Year, but Gabin Law was on our final shortlist of 3. And Adrien Lepeg was the other one in the shortlist who did make our team of the year. But the revelation was Gail Drehan, outdoing Ugo Sun, who you actually called out at the end of our Golden Buffs for next year.
Too early.
And our pick for La Revelation, Fabien Braubery. I kind of thought Gail Drehan. I thought Gail Drehan's a bit too old. Because there's no set criteria, it's like, why not? The best French player of the year was Louis Biel-Biarré, who was also ours in our Golden Buffs. And he had a little pop at outdoing Thomas Ramos in his acceptance speech. I think he's basically, it was nice to beat a Toulousain, and everyone, banter. Everyone fell about the place. There was another, the try of the year. I don't think any of them were on our shortlist, but I was there.
Yes.
Louis Biel-Biarré against Pau. And I have to say, it was like a turnover on the Bordeaux 22. And basically, as soon as they touched the ball, you're like, I think they might score a try here. It is a phenomenal try. There's a forward pass in there for me. And that what cost Pau the game. Pau would have won that otherwise. And maybe have been in the barrage. But it's a phenomenal try. There was no Wanakolo. Oh no, there was a Wanakolo one on there, but it wasn't even the best Wanakolo try of the year.
Yeah.
For me. What else was there? Pierre Brousset won Ref of the Year, I thought. I mean, I'm not getting beyond the England-Scotland game for that, so he was a complete no for me. I would have gone Luke Ramos. Staff of the Year, Stade Toulousain in the top 14, which I think possibly a bit harsh on Boyon. Staff of Pro Day Dirt, unsurprisingly, Montauban, given the turnaround. Yeah. Toulouse won the engagement Sociétal. I think that's in the community. I don't think that's social media.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who I would give it to if it was social media in the top 14. And then I don't know much about the women's stuff, but you've got Tiani Falou.
Yeah, he plays for Grenoble, I think.
Who is the second row or the back row?
Second row.
Second row, because she's got a sister that plays, isn't she? Who I think was also nominated.
Oh, really? I didn't realise that.
I think they were both nominated, and then I can't remember who it was. And Madisu Fall Raclot was the joueuse of Elite One, who I'm hoping you're going to tell me who she plays for as well, Richard.
She plays for Bordeaux.
Okay.
She was the first game of the World Cup I watched, which was the France game at Sandy Park against Italy, I think it was absolutely ridiculous.
Second row.
Yes. Yeah. So good night for French female second rows. She was phenomenal. And Tayani Fellier is only like 22, 23 or
Yeah.
something. So yeah,
The
decent engine room for future years for the France women's team.
the Super Sevens was that in the men's was, but I did notice the other players in there. So it was Alexis Levron, who I think was playing for the French Barbarians in the Super Seven. But I noticed the other players in there, I think, were Enzo Benmagal, who is in good try scoring form for Van, and Gregoire Arfoy, who helped set up that wonder try last week, who I think has been involved in the French stuff. So it's a pretty yeah. Alexis Levron was the Barbarians Rugby Club of France, which get involved in the Super Seven.
That's very cool. Did not know that was a thing. Well, congratulations to all the winners. I saw Jerome Bosville, very nice Montauban like blazer, which is quite cool, saying that he was pleased to see they'd found the Pro Day de.
They found it, have they?
Or
They lent it at like an agricultural
iteration.
show, didn't they? Yeah.
So I don't quite know. But again, everyone fell about the place, which is good to see. Maybe onto the top 14 then. There were. Where do we want to start? Maybe get out the way.
Should we start with Montauban?
Yeah, not the greatest day for Montauban in the Auvergne.
Bosville scored his first top 14 try. Really? I didn't
realise
he ran
that.
in an intercept from inside his own half.
Love it. Proper stuff.
Yeah, it was quite a good read, and there was no one near him, and he had plenty to spare. A lone bright spot in. Well, they scored quite a lot of tries. Fafita was good. He scored a really cool try with linking up with VC, which I assume won't be the last time this season. But don't know, watching the highlights is kind of hard to gauge kind of where it went wrong. But when a team scores 84 points, as Clermont-Auvergne did, which I think might be a record of some sort.
Yeah.
Bearing in mind, like Bordeaux the other week when they pasted Montauban, that was like the fifth highest tries in a top 14 game. So I assume that was right up there. I haven't seen any of the official stats.
I saw somewhere that every starting backline player for Clermont scored a try, which must be some sort of record.
That's quite cool. Look, Massa had a good game. Regis Montagne had a good game. It seemed like they all had a good game.
Yeah. One to forget for Montauban.
Worryingly, that is now in three away games. They've conceded a lot of points, nearly 200 points. They did. Three away games.
They rotated a bit in this one, right?
Yeah, it was a kind of rotated front five, I think. Rotated pack a little bit, but Clermont probably not the side you want to rotate your pack against. But
not ideal.
Interesting to see where they go from there.
Yeah, remarkably, there is a side faring slightly worse, and it's been it's not been good down at the Emi Giral. Stade Francais pretty comfortable winners over Perpignan. Their third defeat at home, so to chalk that up against Bayonne and Racing as well, which is remarkable, really. I don't know what the stats are, but I imagine the last time they lost 3 on the spin at home, even with where they've struggled a little bit at times in the last 4 or 5 seasons, it's a remarkable turnaround. Not least because we thought actually maybe going into this season, Perpignan were in quite good straits with a few signings. There's been a bit of a backlash. One, there was, I don't know if you saw the sort of ironic cheers for Stade Francais as they came off at half time. The Perpignan fans sort of applauding the away team off, which was pretty brutal. And then there's been change in the staff as well. So David Marty, who was I think head coach under Azema's direct DOR.
Yeah,
that's the distinction.
Azema,
So David Marty's gone, and Gérald Bastide, the forwards coach, has also been let go as well. I did see it's very, very kind of speculative stuff, but I did see someone linking, is it Huber who's been at the centre of all the carnage at Grenoble in the last week as well, being linked with a shift over to Perpignan, but maybe that's just a convenient story given what's going on there. But Stade Francais, I don't know when last time.
They kind of fell on their sword, but also kind of got pushed. At their confirmed request was the official wording. The staff, in a spirit of responsibility and to create an electroshock in the locker room, propose a change in the sporting organisation.
Sounds like when another, I don't know, ex-Soviet agent's fallen out, just happened to fall out the window. It's like one of those.
Thank you to James Harrington, the excellent journalist on Blue Sky, who helped with that kind of translation. Basically, I couldn't be bothered to read it and asked, and was like, James, what happened here? Because I was wondering if it was kind of perhaps also just a bit cheaper to get rid of them as opposed to Frank Azema. I think Frank Azema, James confirmed, is there until 2028. So, and like, it's
Really?
also
Wow.
quite a well-respected coach. Azema's deal, they were to the end of the season, Azema's deal runs to 2028. So maybe that is
The severance package is
Yeah.
slightly
maybe that was
more
the
appetizing.
yeah. It's like, could you guys please hand in your resignation so that we can pay you off and not him, because it'd be cheaper for us.
Fantastic.
Yeah, they are in a bit of strife though.
They are. Yeah, not great. One thing, there were two things that I did see in the top 14 over the weekend that I was not, without sounding too old school about it, a little bit unappetizing. One of them was in this game, and it was Thierry Fiver with a fairly outrageous dive simulation, which got oh god, what's the not Berrier, the loose head at Perpignan, Bruce Deveur.
Again, he nailed Nolan Le Garrec last year, didn't he? When Le Garrec dropped to the deck, same bloke.
Maybe he's just got like a
maybe he's
force
absolutely
field.
nails. Like, yeah.
Well, he does lick nails, and he did go into a ruck a bit recklessly and got yellow carded, which was probably fair enough. But Fiver, it's a shocker. Like, it's a real bad one. And yeah,
but it earns Devert a yellow card, sir.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to try and I haven't seen any of that game.
It's a shocker. It's a really bad one. And in the Lyon UBB game, I wouldn't say Damien Penaud covered himself in glory either. His was maybe a little bit less egregious, but he's definitely after the fact gone down holding his face, and then I can't remember who it was for Lyon who caught him, but it was a little bit unedifying, it must be said.
I was thinking, watching the highlights of the Bordeaux game, because he cocks up, doesn't he, for one of the tries as well. It's like he's blooming lucky Teo Atazogbe got injured. I think he could be
possibly
out the door quite quickly in the France judge, which is mad given he's a record try scorer. But I do think he is on. How old is he? He's still quite young, isn't he?
29, something like that.
Yeah, I do think he won't. I think there's just so much talent coming up that he might be out the door sooner than perhaps people think.
Maybe, yeah. I think he'll probably get the autumn internationals, won't he, as you say, with Atazogbe injured. And it's not like he hasn't got
injured.
He hasn't got a body of work behind him that's fairly useful. But I
can't wait for this squad to come out. I've got knives are out for so many established names in this France squad, mate. I'm ready.
Yeah, Bordeaux, actually not a game we thought was going to be very comfortable. They got off to an absolute flyer, but wasn't.
Yeah.
Lyon were pretty impressive, actually. Esteban Gonzalez, first start at 9 in the top 14, scored 2 fantastic tries.
Yeah.
And generally, Lyon were pretty good value to stay in it. And were it not for the Wine and Golo yellow in the last 10 minutes, which kind of opened it up and allowed Bordeaux to get away, it might have been a bit tighter. So yeah, good signs. A bit
harsh, that yellow.
Yeah,
it's one of the more obvious hands in the ruck you'll see, but it seemed quite harsh.
Yeah, it wasn't like a repeated infringements kind of. It felt like it felt more of a last warning yellow to me, that one, rather than you got to go to the bin. But a lot of fun under and Wine and Golo was also again up to his old tricks, like running it out from under his own sticks and stuff. He's great value as ever.
Is he still top of the freakish Fijian index?
I think at the moment, yes. Yeah, obviously VC needs a little bit more game time. Although he did score an absolute worldie of a try, was Benaya Hambosi in Racing's last gasp loss to Cast, which, as I think we were discussing as a Cast fan, feels like a pretty important win, that, because losing two from 3 at home is, I would say, very uncast like. I imagine would go down slightly unacceptable, and it turns I'd say that Abraham Papali'i in the 83rd minute, I think it was, going over the line. That's after the try to bring them within 3 was a charge down from a goal line restart.
Carbonneau own try.
Yeah, which is quite something as well. But yeah, I think they'll be pretty happy to have scrapped it out. But the Hambosi try in what looked like pretty filthy conditions, as it often is at Cast, is a real gem if you haven't seen it.
Cast's got like some sort of microclimate, because it seems to, whenever it's like the worst weather, it always seems to be in Cast.
Yeah, it does seem to look pretty gloomy there.
Just on the Bordeaux game, Deporter looked really good.
Yes, yeah, he was
Played really well.
amazing.
Bielbarré's pace is just like the first try he scores. Deportez like breaking out, and then it's almost like he's on a. It's like when you're in the airport and someone's walking through the middle bit, and someone's on the travelling bit.
Yeah.
Like it's genuinely like that, and Deportez like charging out, and yet Bielbarré is just cruising up alongside him.
Yeah.
And Sam Simmons, I mean, bit of a mixed bag of a game. I think he missed the tackle on Deporter for that try, but or allowed him to step inside. But as you tweeted, just a word on the effort to try and get back for that try. Still absolutely rapid, Sam Simmons.
He's still quick. He actually, the bar that he actually he had quite a good first half actually.
Yeah.
They seem to certainly defensively like over the ball and stuff. But yeah, Leon going okay.
Just looks like Makoro.
Oh my God,
fun to watch. Like
yeah, another bust up, feel like 50-meter break upfield.
Yeah, he did something else as well that was really cool. I was like, this guy's great.
Yeah, he's cool.
Still a few queries on his scrummaging, although I think Leon did all right up front.
Yeah, they did.
We mentioned a bit of an own try in the Racing game. There was an own try chalked off at the mile where there was a throw over the top from a line out on halfway, and Facundo Issa picked up the ball off the back of the line, like overthrown, like beat the Toulon player to the ball that went over the back, and they were called back for not being 10 meters.
Okay.
So basically, like picked it up, offloaded it, and like I think it was Desperez like ran in. Just like basically, it looked like a really, really nicely worked line-out move if Poe had thrown the ball in, but they were done for being within 10 meters. Poe basically didn't really show anything until the last 10 minutes in this game, which the one player that was good for Poe, perhaps unsurprisingly, off the bench. Well, poor old Carwin Pelotu, basically first carry of the game, gets Simbin for an elbow to the throat, like on the handoff, and also in doing that, like does his shoulder in.
I saw he was in a sling, yeah.
Yeah, but Facundo Issa came off and replaced him. So Facundo Issa back at the mile was quite comfortably Poe's best player in a starting 15. I genuinely think that is a legit second 15. I don't think there's a single player in that starting 15 for Poe that would now be a first choice player, which I think actually says more about how far they've come, because guys like
I'd agree with that.
Like Lucas Ray and Sacha Zegur and Loic Credos and Tumu Manu and Nathan Decron, like there are guys there that were quite key players last season that are now second choice, like legit second choice. Tumu Manu got a quite harsh yellow. I do think that it wouldn't have changed the result at all, but I think Poe did not get the rub of the green with the ref, like the chalked off try, like the Manu. Like the guy's dipping, and it's like such clear mitigation. He gets a yellow card for clotheslining him. But he was really good once he moved to centre, kind of last 15, 20 minutes. For Toulon, though, let's talk about them rather than Poe. Toulon were the better team. They were a stronger side. Priso at tight head seems like an absolute revelation and could be the answer for France, I think. His penalty count was terrible. I think Toulon were not tidy at the breakdown, but also he won his own penalties. Like he was probably net zero in terms of penalty count. Ribbons was absolutely amazing. Couple of like signature ribeye charging runs, and Serran set up a wonderful try in the first half, like a little dink through sort of thing that only really Serran does. He just does stuff.
The consistency that he does game breaking things is ridiculous. Like he's like,
it wasn't like freakish. It was just like, oh, of course he's done that.
But he like creates a
just
try.
Not surprising. Yeah.
Pretty much every game he plays. Like he's such a phenomenal player.
Yeah. Abadi was actually quite good in this game as well.
Very nice.
Given him a bit of ribbing last week. And Nonu scored. Nonu was a pretty good.
Yeah. So
extending
cool.
his own record for oldest try scorer in the league.
Oh, it's just incredible. Amazing stuff.
But that was a pretty comfortable win for Toulon. They did get the bonus point. Poe were very, very limited. They didn't really play any rugby. Toulon just battered them.
Did you catch any of the first game of the weekend, Montpellier La Rochelle?
Yes.
I saw decent patches of it, and they were at Montpellier playing some pretty good rugby this year and looked really good in patches. I could not believe how poor La Rochelle were.
Yeah, talking of teams that didn't really do much or show anything, like
similar
to Poe, they barely strung any phases together. I think what it was though, I don't necessarily think La Rochelle were terrible. I thought Montpellier's defence was amazing. I thought they were amazing at the breakdown. And So like La Rochelle never really got any territory or possession, really. They didn't really do much.
Yeah,
It's
still
kind of
some of
like the
their
La Rochelle.
their real basics were just so for a I don't know. I agree with you. Montpellier were the superior team. From as I said, I didn't see like all of it wall to wall, but I think going into it, I felt that La Rochelle with kind of like Le Garrec at the fore had turned a bit of a corner from last year when they were so sticky, and when they did get the ball, it felt, I don't know, just a bit clumsy and a bit laboured and
like zero shape,
like a poorly coached side.
Yeah,
basically.
But I do think Montpellier were excellent. I think like excellent at scrum, excellent at breakdown, and I'm trying to think who really impressed me. A guy that impressed me, unfortunately, who had a really good game, and he has been probably the best tight head in the league so far, is a criminal. Wilfred Hunkperton. Adoshio's been really good, I would say. And I think Ulysses is also a top quality player. Miotti, I think, seems to be going really well at 10. That seems to be working with him and Ali Price. Although Bernaday off the bench, a young lad, who's scored a couple of tries now in the last couple of weeks, he looks good. The standout player for Montpellier, or in this game, Lenny Nucci, who
just getting better and better.
If you consider him up against, like, the back row he's up against, and when I was talking about knives out for French internationals, you can't tell me that Nucci is not in better form than Greg Aldrit. Well, there's quite a lot of players in better form than Greg Aldrit that are young back rowers, but when you're doing all of the aggressive Lenny Nucci stuff and then you're doing a grubber off your left foot to set up a try,
he's phenomenal, isn't
he? He's one of their best players every week, which is I thought Masabaka off the bench was good. Like, saw bits of like the kind of explosive stuff off the base, which was really cool to see. Guy that we love, Rich. Yeah, La Rochelle really didn't show much, did they? Vunivalu had his best game for the try he scored was kind of what you'd expect from him when he moved from rugby league, and he's basically shown very little of that in Union.
Yeah, that was cool.
But yeah, takes it under the high ball, beats a few players for pace and power.
It was cool. Awesome.
Bumps himself up the freakish Fijian index.
Yeah, gets him in there.
Yeah,
arguably gets him in there. Yeah, impressive from Montpellier. Decent crowds as well. They're enjoying their little run in the sun at the moment down there.
Maybe it's the rebrand. Maybe Maybe the people of Montpellier don't like local property company GGL, and they absolutely love software company Septio. Maybe that's what it is.
It's as simple as that.
Stadium, yeah.
It's as simple as that. Nice. And then to round it out, the Sunday night game, Bayonne.
Game of the weekend looks a thing.
Yeah, I think so.
Which we kind of thought it would be.
Just, fantastic. Both really aggressive, pacey game of rugby, like some of Toulouse's young guys, Teo Entamac, your man Bertrand, Manu Tuolangi, Esteban Kapir at the fore for Bayonne were both sensational. Actually, I don't know if you've seen the Manu Tuolangi hit on Entamac.
The one that he gets yellow carded for not being 10.
For not being 10, yeah. And,
it absolutely melts him. And it's like, oh, that could be red.
It's like, I saw a couple of the French journalists, like slightly more light-hearted ones, just like that. Like, I think it said he's literally murdered him or something like that. It was so good. And there's an amazing, if anyone follows EK Rugby Analysis on X, there's a brilliant thing we retweeted, which is basically the French TV director's view on it, which was yellow card, Tuolangi looking aghast, small child looks like he's questioning the meaning of life. It's so well done. But yeah, amazing sort of first. Well, the whole game was fantastic, and it felt like in the back end of the second half, Toulouse to me felt like they were just edging ahead. Had sort of dominance at the scrum, and Tomo Ramos on about 66 minutes, give or take, hits the post with one that you would expect him to score, which would have taken them 8 points clear, I think. And there felt like a little bit of an inevitability about it. But Bayonne scored 3. I mean, one of them sort of last play and there's a bit of a bouncing ball, but 3 fantastic tries with Joris Segons, who we spoke last week about, obviously his amazing kicking game, which is very much his sort of USP. But Joris Segons at the fore with some absolute worldy distribution. One to put, oh God, I can't. Urban Arthur de Grey, I'm going to absolutely butcher that, through the gap.
Irby, they call him.
Do they? Okay.
Yeah.
It's that sort of setup.
Oh, I think it's more because I've only ever seen it on like Threads or Twitter, and Urban Arthur de Grey is too many characters, so they just go Irby.
Nice. I think it's Arno, isn't it? I think I'd always assume maybe Urban was his name, and then it's Artigarai. But and then the sort of almost Finn Russell at Scotland, England 2018, whenever it was, floated over Deleve to put Tiberian in. Just fantastic, like amazing the way it was a brilliant finish. Amazing the way they turned it on, given they had been under a lot of pressure, and in the end, Toulouse ended up conceding 40-42, whatever it was, which is incredible.
Quite Bordeaux-y, that little last flourish of like tries. I've got a few questions. You saw more of this game than I did. Looked like Theo Ntamack had another good game. Should he be in the France squad, or is he just a good player?
I think could he be in the France squad? Yes. I think Kapia, Nucci,
should Kapia, that was my next question. Should Kapia be ahead of him?
I think in that pecking order based on what I've seen this season.
Should Joris Sagons, or how did Ntamack go at 10, and should Joris Sagons be?
Ntamack was decent.
Just set up a lovely little chip kick for LaBelle.
Well, I do wonder if I feel like Sagons is he nestling into that kind of third fly half ahead of
third/fourth?
Yeah. With depending on what you can do with Ramos. I think it's wider squad, yes.
Georges-Henri Colombe, how did he go? Scored a try?
Excellent. I thought he was brilliant when he came on. Busy, a little bit unlucky not to win a couple of turnovers where I thought he was in pretty good position, scrummaged pretty well. Still swear in a few years' time we'll ever wonder how he was dropped when he's tearing up trees for France.
Yeah.
Stand by that.
And the answer to this question is yes, should Arthur Aturia be starting lock for France?
Yes, always.
Yeah, cool.
They also had, I think it was Perry Freshwater was on comms.
Yeah.
They said, because Colombe's a big boy, isn't he? And then Robbie Knott was 145 kgs. I think Freshwater said that's without the VAT, which coming from one prop to another, I quite enjoyed as well. But, awesome game. Looking ahead to next week, what have we got in the top 14? No Pro Day there, which we'll come to in just a moment.
Yeah. Some crackers next week. Kicking off with the two teams that I'm wearing stuff of. Section Palois, my boys at home to Bayonne in a derby game. That is also often quite at the Hameau. That's often quite a high scoring game for whatever reason. It's always but Bayonne have got Po have got a very good record at home to Bayonne, like in recent years. Lyon host Perpignan. That's an interesting one for Perpignan. Stade Francais host La Rochelle. That could go either way. Racing host Montpellier, another one that could be quite tight. Montauban, a little bit of a derby-ish. Tarn derby. Yeah, I think they have been advertising it as that against Cast. Ooh, Saturday evening, Clermont-Toulon. Couple of big packs going head-to-head. And then Sunday, Stade Toulousain versus Union Bordeaux-Bègles. I'm pretty sure it's the same weekend last year as well that they had that game at the Onus Vallon. Give me your predictions for those then, Rich.
Po, Racing, Cast. Stade Francais, Lyon at home to Perpignan, given how Perpignan have been going. Toulon to sneak one at Clermont.
Ooh, okay.
And Toulouse.
I am going to go for Po because they've got a good record at home. And they've also rested a full first 15 after last week. Yeah, Lyon should beat Perpignan. Don't know whether there'll be some new coaches in. Maybe there'll be like a new manager bounce of some sort.
Bounce.
Stade Francais, who were very briefly top of the league last week, remarkably. Going to go for them. I am going to go for Montpellier at Racing. You went for Racing, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be different. Montpellier, look, they really, really impressed me, and they are one of those teams that will just, said it last week, once they win a few, they'll win 6 in a row, and then they'll be crap for a bit. Cast Montauban. Ooh.
Third time lucky at home for Montauban.
Yeah, I'll go Montauban. Yeah.
Joshua VC sort of 100-metre try to win it late on, perhaps.
Yeah, maybe something like that. Maybe it'll be a draw. They're due another one, having had one. I don't know. That's a tricky one. Casts haven't been amazing so far, have they?
No.
And Montauban obviously took a bit of a hammering. There'll be a fight back after that. Clermont, I think, will beat Toulon at home. Just a home advantage thing, which sounds really basic, but two big packs. It could be a really good game, or it could be a really ugly game. And Toulon's battering ram approach might not work against Clermont. I still don't think Clermont are that, even though they ran in 80 points last week. And then I think Toulouse will do it. Just Bordeaux still missing quite a few. I don't think they've quite got. Be interesting to see what side Bordeaux send, actually. They might not go full noise. But yeah, we'll see. So we're relatively in agreement. One away win each.
Yeah, two.
What have you gone for? What's your second one?
Toulon,
yeah.
Cast.
Yeah. Do you think
never to be outdone on the aways?
Yeah. Which one of those? Which do you think is the game of the weekend then? Because there's a few contenders there.
Oh, it's always Toulouse Bordeaux.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to Toulouse. Like, where are Toulouse at then? Because they've conceded like 40 twice away. They obviously were imperious in the game that we saw at the Ernest Vallon. Are they? Are they becoming a bit French home winsy, bit average away, or are they? What's happening?
I think that's probably a little bit premature. I think, I'd say they were 15 minutes. Well, it felt like they were 15 minutes away from a pretty impressive away performance at Bayonne. I think the Montpellier one was like a real shocker. Montpellier were excellent, but they kind of fell apart a bit. Everything went wrong. I think actually Tom Ramos, unfortunately, has been at the centre of both of those kind of away defeats. But I guess he is human.
But also didn't Entermac miss like a load of kicks?
The post. Yeah, I'm thinking well, at the back end of this, he's firstly missed a kick and then huffed one out on the full from a restart as well. And it's sort of. But yeah, I mean that's by the by. I think I don't know, maybe if it continues, but I think the Bayonne game can be more chalked up to 10 minutes of absolute brilliance from Bayonne rather than anything Toulouse did particularly badly. It's still sort of a little bit kind of. Selection has been a little bit mixed away from home as well. So yeah, I'm not too concerned about Toulouse.
I guess the team you've just mentioned there, Bayonne, can they get an away win at the Hameau, do you think?
I think they can. I think they're top of the league. They've shown they've been better, haven't they? Although it wasn't that long ago they went to Cast and got absolutely thumped. Slightly changed up team, but not necessarily a really changed up one. I think they can. I think Po are a much better side than they have been, and you think they'll kind of come through in that. And I mean, but Bayonne, it was their best performance of the year. The two home wins before that, they'd kind of scraped home, hadn't they, by 2 or 3 points. So it's not like they've been absolutely imperious, but the form they exhibited in that Toulouse game was probably made a win at the Hameau more likely than I would have said the week before.
I wonder what team they'll send. I don't know. I feel that they've been quite settled, to be fair, but yeah, they've had 2 home wins, 2 home games against big teams in recent weeks. They might send a bit of a changed up side. We know that Poe will be at full strength after sending a second team last week. Wonder if Montoya wonder when he will make his first start, whether he'll come straight in. We still haven't seen Issa start, which feels mad. I know he's had a lot of impacts off the bench, but still got players to come in for Poe. So also Poe on TV. Great news. Or streaming. That's what I was just looking at. But 2 weeks in a row, they've been in the stream. Although for 37 minutes of the Toulon game, there was no commentary. And then randomly, 37 minutes in, or maybe on the replay that I watched, but 37 minutes in, Robbie Knock just appears mid through phase of play. So I don't know what happened for the first 37 minutes. It was just silence other than the crowd noise and the ref mic. Also, quite a tight turnaround that. I know it's something we don't really talk about that much, but the Sunday evening 9 p.m. to Saturday lunchtime to go. I know they've only got to go an hour or two up the road, but to go Saturday lunchtime from Sunday evening, that's also going to probably play into selection. So yeah, Allez Section.
Yeah, Allez Section. Should we come back to a little bit Pro Day there?
Yep.
Last round of the first block, so that's six 6 weeks on the spin and a week off for the Pro Day boys. I saw Bo Farrance he's back somewhere in the UK, I assume, unless there's a very authentic East End pie and mash shop knocking around in Argent, which I find difficult to believe. But there were largely, I think, kind of went to script in terms of home wins, but three notable away wins. Provence over Grenoble, some of us called it 1 pointer, although I haven't actually seen it because it wasn't in the highlights. Romain Triou misses a bit of a goober at the end here to allow Provence, but that's an amazing win for them. Grenoble, by my calculations, last time they lost at home in the league section of the top 14 was January 2024.
Okay. Who was that to?
Yeah, 23. No, it was against Dax.
Oh, wow.
The year when Dax came sixth, I think, and then got beaten by 60 points in the barrage in the same fixture. But yeah, great win for Provence. The other notable one, the really standout performance, I guess, of the round, always back the lack away at the Christina Aguilera. Fantastic win for them. Fantastic start to the season for Aurillac. Biarritz, who, as is the want of most Pro Day sides, have generally been pretty good at home, even through their slightly chaotic patches in the last couple of seasons. So that's an amazing win. And then the FR UK game on
although that Biarritz team did not look particularly strong, I have to say. It's looking a bit, they're kind of one of those teams that, like, some weeks you'll see like the team and you're like, couldn't tell you much about some of these players, and then other weeks you'll be like, Jesus, they've got quite a few big names, haven't they? And this was one of the weeks where you're like, don't like, I feel like they're better than this. I don't know whether it's injury, it must be injuries, because there's a few players not playing there, like Killian Jaminet, Kibarigi, the starters, Dolagarai at 10. Yeah,
and it seems like one, I think, looking at selections as well, I think it looks like one Aurillac either saw that or genuinely targeted as well. I guess maybe ahead of the break, like Lochner and Rogers in the front row pushed Papinashvili out to the wing, who I think he's up there with the top point scorers, nailed one sort of proper 60-meter absolute like howitzer, which was very, very cool. But amazing win for them. And the other away win, which was the FR UK game, was Van over Dax, which I think you saw all of. I caught bits. It was not the prettiest thing I've ever seen, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, like it felt like Van played down to Dax's level, if that makes sense. Like because they sent a really strong side. Like there was no way, looking at those two teams on paper, that should be a 1 point game. And actually, Dax left a hell of a lot of points out there. Like Cerisier, his kicking he had a bit of a mixed bag. Like he did some lovely stuff, but also left quite a few points out there and Dax could easily and should easily have won that game, which against a pretty much full noise Van. Like they picked all the big names: Dave Cherry, Maxime Lafarge, Ruru, Boutier played, Tokola was on the bench. There was no Mako, no Saili, but other than that, like the pack, no Gorison, but you had Calamafoni, you had Pedemonte, Joe Edwards was great off the bench. Sodrano at tight head, and to win by only 1 point is actually quite bizarre. I think like Dax kept themselves in the game. They made a bit of a scrap. I think my big issue for Van is that they need to play some rugby. Like they've got the better team. They've got, certainly in that first half, Dax were blowing. We know Dax have got some massive. They are heavy men, and they're quite old as well, which Joey Worsley was kind of quite quick to point out on commentary. Like the fitness isn't going to be there. Like against a team that like Van, who have come down from the top 14. Versus a low-budget team in Pro League 2 with some big, heavy men. They were blowing in that first half. And that's when you've got to, they should have torn them to shreds then and actually played some rugby, but they just kick it. They just kick it way too much and don't really... It's such a limited game plan. Like, it's not even like they're... it's not
I get it in this game. I'm not sure I agree entirely that it's all Van have got. I think...
No, they can play stuff, but they just don't do it. Like, they've got some really exciting players. Like, Boutier is a fantastic, as a second playmaker. And... you could do so much with him off the back and Ben McGall on the wing. They just didn't show much. And It's not even like the forwards are carrying and it's like this quick. It's not like a Claremont, for example, where yes, it's direct, but the forwards are looking to offload. It's more simplistic and more pragmatic than that. It's like the really boring 10-man rugby for a lot of it, which I get is an away thing in pro. It's very much an away. It's an away tactic in world rugby, but looking at some of the away teams in the top 14 this weekend, like even that was very kicking based. But I just think when you're one of the best teams in the league against one of the worst teams, the team that is bottom of the league, and you've sent your full noise team, you've got to go for it a bit more. I don't know whether that probably shows how little I know about rugby, but yeah, I would like to see more from Van. I thought, because given that I understood last year with, going up to the top 14, they reined it, like being a bit more pragmatic, and they stayed in games for a lot longer than perhaps they might have done, and they didn't have any blowouts like we've already seen a couple of for Montauban. But I don't know, just think coming down, you've got to assert yourself a bit more and play some, like they should be racking up big scores.
Maybe, but yeah, I just don't think it happened. It just doesn't happen away from home would be my counterpoint to that. Yeah, we'll see. I didn't see the whole thing, so perhaps there were more opportunities. Do you want to do like a little reflection on the first block then, as to?
Well, yeah, that was going to be things we've learned from the first block. My point number one is that away wins are really tough. Like the fact that Brive lost at Biarritz, who then obviously lose to Aurillac in their next home game. But that Van v Dax game shows that. And that Brive game, like the big guns, their three big players play the full 80, and Van also then at Dax looked like they really struggled with a full noise team. So I think it does show that away wins generally are still really, really tough. And I feel like they have come down in terms of, like, it's almost reverted to kind of old school pro. They do a little bit maybe compared to last year. That's my kind of first takeaway from the first block. I think that we will see. And like the good away teams from last year, Grenoble, Southampton, have also been pretty crap away by comparison to last year. So yeah, I just think there does seem to have been a reversion to home wins are away wins are blooming tough. My second point is also last season counts for nothing, because Southampton have been rubbish away. Grenoble have now lost at home, having been impregnable last year. Van not being, haven't blown people away. Provence have been pretty underwhelming. So I think we can kind of rip up a lot of last year's form book. Agen looked quite good. I don't think we're far enough into the league now that we can stop talking about last year. And I'm looking at myself when I say that.
One thing I would say on that is that, I don't know if you can put this down as a bit of a learning, but I'd say I wouldn't want to make too many sweeping judgments until the end of the next block. And the reason for that is just purely how the fixtures fall a little bit. So I think Dax, we thought they would struggle a bit coming into this year, but they've had a pretty horrendous set of fixtures for a first six. So their home games have been Brive, Oyonnax and Van. Had to go away to Provence. And then you kind of two, I guess, standard away fixtures in Valence and Soyo-Angoulême.
Yeah.
Like, you'd say two, if they'd snuck past Van, two wins would probably be a brilliant result out of that. And I think, similarly, if you look at their next fixtures, Aurillac, Béziers, Agen, Carcassonne, Biarritz, Stade Montois, that is you would think, a slightly more favourable block. So I think there's probably a few teams here that I imagine it's fallen Béziers, that way.
Béziers at home, Carcassonne at home, Stade Montois at home. That should be, those should be three wins. And if they lose those, or they only get one from three, then they're struggling.
They're stuck. Yeah,
I think you're right. I also think when you look at, you may have been about to say this, but Van are still the team to beat, because they don't know how many other teams have done it, but they have had 4 away games in that first block. So
and second in the league.
Yeah. Like Joe Worsley was kind of getting stuck into them about their away form. It's like, they should be blowing these teams away. It's like they've also got, they've now got 2 wins and a draw
and a bonus point.
And a bonus point, losing on the final play in 4 away wins, and no one else is doing that. And no one else has had that many away games. So it's kind of like,
they'll finish top if you keep that form away from home. There's no two ways about it.
Oh yeah, he was like, Aurillac, Dax, and on de Marsan, like those are the weaker teams. They're the ones that'll be struggling for relegation. So yes, they are, but even so, you still got to win them. Like, Biarritz will be down there, and they beat Brive at home. So Nevers and Brive have had 4 home games.
Okay,
and they're doing pretty well.
Who would you say is sort of, if there is a side maybe bar Colomiers, who are riding high at the top, but a side who've kind of surpassed expectations, or you think will be happiest coming out of this block? Who would, if you were the coaching staff, who would you be most happy with?
Well, one team that I think tipped for relegation or to be in the access match, who have been really impressive, are Gen.
Yeah.
On the way back, it would seem. They are currently second?
They're fifth.
Fifth. But 4 wins from 6 games is pretty impressive. In fact, they're up there at all is pretty impressive, given where they've been the last couple of seasons, and didn't make loads of signings. They've got a good young squad, a load of good kind of a group of players that seem to be all roughly the same age, seems to be coming through. Them, and I know I just said they've had proportionally more home games, but Nevers as well seem to have a pretty young group with a couple of more experienced heads that coming through together. 2 teams, yeah, they're the 2 teams that I thought might struggle a bit this year and have actually been pretty solid. Well, more than solid. Who's impressed you?
I think, well, there's 3 sides that stand out for me, which is a little bit greedy. I think one, Carcassonne getting two wins in the first 6 is really big. I think with the differential in budgets, the gap that certainly I'd maybe perhaps incorrectly, wouldn't be the first time predicted, between the leagues. That away win at Stade Montois is massive. I know it's obviously a long season ahead, but I think they've shown enough thus far to suggest that they're going to be a tough side to beat, which is kind of all you can ask for, I think, coming up from Nationale. I think Aurillac will be really pleased. That away win kind of changes the complexion of the first part of the season. 3 from 6 is pretty impressive. Had to host one of those losses, was at home to Vannes. And then the other one, who I don't think we necessarily thought would be in any trouble, but it was perhaps whether they could continue the form of last year, was Valence Romain, who I think are, where are they? Like they're sort of mid. They're 6th. They've won 4 games,
wins from 6, yeah,
including obviously notably the win away at Provence. They feel like they've very quickly become a properly sort of established Pro D2 side. Be interesting to see if they can continue it. And obviously they got a bit of dusting at Oenar a few weeks ago, but up to that point have been pretty impressive. So I think all of those guys will be pretty happy with their lot off the first 6.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Carcassonne, the other team, with 4 away games. So they are 2 wins from 6, but 4 of them on the road, which, a couple of cliches, but when you're new to a league, you want to try and make your home patch a bit of a fortress. Yeah, that was basically what I had. I had that one of my other points were Van of the team to beat. Carcassonne won't roll over. And also, conversely, flip side of that, I think we kind of touched on it last week. Are we jumping to conclusions on anyone in terms of who's going to go down, who's going to struggle? I think that result for Biarritz that's not a good sign. We've not mentioned them in like the troubled bit. They are obviously they were -3, so they're on 7. But I think that -3 makes, I mean, obviously it's still a long, we've had 20% of the season, but the picture looks rosier without that -3. But they are also only 2 wins from 6 and it's a weird one because they beat Brive at home, but then they lose to Aurillac. So where do you stand on Biarritz?
Honestly, I don't know. I was fairly happy, not for them because I want to see Carcassonne do well, but I was fairly happy in my pre-season thoughts that I felt the gap between the 2 leagues was so significant that, based on something like the access match stuff, that it's going to be really tricky for Carcassonne. It feels like they've been brilliant, and I haven't seen enough Biarritz so far this year, either highlights or live, but I know what you mean. There feels like a certain ominousness about that. I don't know if that's a word, but about that loss, given how good they've been at home. It's sort of last year they were one of the last teams, I think, to crack, weren't they, at home against Brive, who they've obviously already beaten this year. So I'm not sure. I feel like it's going to be, what it does feel like is that there's going to be, which is really exciting, unless I guess you're in it. It feels like it could be like a proper scrap. And there could be, looking at it now, the bottom 5 as it stands. I think Angoulême probably have a little bit more quality. I still think Mont-de-Marsan are a better side than they've shown, but you wouldn't be surprised if those 5 maybe things will even out a little bit with Aurillac, given their budgets and things. But like it genuinely looks at the moment, it'll be interesting to see if that's the case after the next 6, that there could be 4 or 5 teams sort of vying, which will make for some pretty exciting fixtures. fixtures.
Also, not ruling out what we had last year, where you've basically got the bottom 9, bottom 8. Bottom half of the league are all kind of in danger until the last couple of rounds. Yeah, I think you're right on Mont-de-Marsan. I just wonder whether it's like an element of like they've now had quite a prolonged period. If you go back over a season and a half, like even the back end of the previous season, let alone last year's narrow scraping safety, where they're just losing a lot of games. There's a lot of like. They've lost the winning habit. Another cliche, but I don't know whether there's a little bit of nous missing or something.
Yeah, man.
They have conceded a lot of tries as well.
Yeah. Their points difference is minus 111 after 6 games, which is pretty amazing. And the one win was that last minute victory over Van, wasn't it? Which is. Yeah, feels big now. It's amazing to think we're 4 years ago, was it? We went out there and watched them hammer Bayonne at the Stade Rondé. Yeah. Things.
Look at those 2 teams now. November 2021. Not even 4 years ago.
Crazy.
But yeah, their points difference in 3 away games is minus 94.
Yeah, a little bit.
BRS are minus 90 as well from 3 away games.
Yeah. One thing I would say, just to maybe round off some of the Pro Day Death thoughts, maybe it's because now we can watch it. Like perhaps it's almost seeing too much of the rugby. I feel like there haven't been, maybe beyond the kind of Grenoble melodrama of last week, which we kind of covered in the midweek preview recording. I feel like we've maybe been lacking a little bit of the sort of cliche mayhem. I haven't seen too many haymakers. Did see an opposition fly half and get taken out by a remote controlled castle at Carcassonne. That was really good. But
that was the ref they nearly took out.
Oh, was it the ref? Was it? Yeah. But yeah, maybe a little bit more of that in the next block, please. If
there was that, which a couple of people have sent us on Instagram, that Nevers where the guy like wipes him out. Yeah, I think it might be Carcassonne. It's someone like it looks like it could be death. It just takes him out of the air, and it's like straight red. Yeah, you make a good point. No
haircuts in the crowd as of yet. I feel this stuff maybe comes into its own a little bit more in winter. There's a little bit less to do. People are sort of fully away from cocktails on rooftops, and we're getting down to the rugby, and that's when it starts to get a bit funky. And
there's the odd like weekend where like Pro Day does like the only rugby as well. Like there's the odd one, like fallow weekends or There's a long season, Richard. We're only 20% of the way through. Like,
We'll get there.
Just that type of stuff is a bit Petit-Fours. Oh no, you want to do Nationale? I was going to say.
Just a quick, because I think the week was it? No, it wasn't a week off the week before, was it? But I suppose the highlights from Nationale, Nice, first v second hammered Chambéry 31-7. There are also home wins for Albi over Suresnes, Marcon Barruel over Tarbes. Périgueux scraped past Niort 24-23.
Bit of a derby-ish, not far away.
Yeah, not a million miles away. You could do a little trip of that, couldn't you? Narbonne beat Bourg-en-Bresse very comfortably, 43 points to 6. And then there are 2 away wins, one for Massy at Bourgoin, and then Rouen, who got a much-needed away win in one of those sort of northern, they're bloody miles away, but northern derbies, beat Rennes 12 points to 10.
Normandy and Brittany are neighbouring regions. Just been watching that King and Conqueror on BBC. That's
Rennes to Rouen a decent enough schlep though, isn't it? Let's have a look.
Yeah, but they did Normandy to Brittany in like 5 minutes on BBC. So and that was on horseback. So
200 miles. Round the corner.
Yeah, round the corner. Yeah, Bourgoin. They are struggling, aren't they?
I feel like every time we cover Nationale is just Bourgoin are struggling again, aren't they? Yeah. There we go.
Nice are. They've just got so much quality, haven't they? Could be. What I would say on Nationale is maybe this weekend to catch a little bit of it, because there will be 4 Friday night games and there'll be no Pro Day on Friday. So yeah, I don't know when which one is the.
A decent bit of it is streamed, isn't it? So maybe this week we'll keep a bit more of a conscious eye out.
I hope the Rugby Rama one is Chambéry Périgueux. That could be a good game.
Is that at Chambéry?
At Chambéry, 6:30 UK time on Friday.
Very nice. Cool. Should we park it, come back and finish off a few Petit-Fours?
Yes.
Okay, Rob. I've got a few bits this week. First of which, not to sort of put too much of a downer on it, but has been quite prominent in French rugby news the last couple of days. There's I think an official. I don't know who run it, if it's a police-led or state-led, but kind of inquiry has been opened into the death of Christophe Dominici. It's about 5 years ago, isn't it? I think he sadly died. I know it's something that I think his sort of widow had called for. Yeah,
Did he not commit suicide?
He did, but I think it's the events.
What
There
led
were
him to that?
various business dealings and involvement of sort of, I think, some Middle Eastern investment, because it was Bezier, wasn't it, that he was
Carl Wilkins mentioned it on
he did
Bezier when there was it was like
when some of that was going on.
Consortium that collapsed.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, crazy that was 5 years ago as well, and pretty, not the most sort of savoury of things to bring back up, but it's been quite prominent. So that is happening. Slightly more light-hearted news. We mentioned a couple of the women's World Cup players earlier who were honoured at the Nuit de Rugby, but probably a slightly flairer honour, I would suggest, is the one that's befallen Nasira Condé, who I think plays at outside centre, who, along with Ellie Kildunn, Portia Woodman-Whitcliffe and Ilona Marr, has had an official Barbie released of her, which that's a pretty flair setup.
Where can you get these Barbies?
I don't know. I don't know if it's like a kind of promo thing, a general sale thing, but they're all at Twickenham. But that's quite a cool, you sort of made it vibe, I think, if you're getting a Barbie made of you. No word on whether sort of Ken or there'll be any like Action Men equivalents of. I feel like Antoine Dupont looks a bit like he's got that sort of slightly
Action Man,
plasticky square look. Yeah, he'd be a good Action Man. But
are you sure this isn't just the next like Instagram, TikTok trend of like
not that AI? No.
AI,
I think this is a Mattel official. Like, I think it's a little bit more legit than turn me into a figurine. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. Also, I know all of those players. Maybe I so I'm very much sort of learning about women's rugby, but all I think have quite big sevens backgrounds in terms of, obviously very high profile.
Portia Woodman-Whitcliffe basically does everything, doesn't she?
Yeah.
She's like unbelievable.
So that's, very, very cool. What else have I got? Have you got anything, or should I rattle through?
I've got a couple of small bits. I don't know what else you've got, but did you see the score in the Toulouse under-16s against Tarbes under-16s?
No, I didn't. I don't know if I want to know.
What do you think the score between Toulouse and Tarbes under-16s was?
Well, firstly, I assume there's no limit in like proper French academy rugby. I think we had a game called off at West Suffolk College when we were 60-0 down at half time, and that was deemed like too much of a battering. I'm gonna go 103
to who?
To Toulouse.
It was Toulouse 130, Tarbes 0.
Oh wow.
And I think there was basically, I saw it because I think people were calling for should this game have been called earlier, sort of thing.
Yeah. Wow.
So
that's not
things
ideal.
going well for Toulouse. Well, Tarbes aren't doing that great in Nationale, but yeah. The other thing that I saw was roughly the same region. Now, you may think, Richard, that living in the south of France, in the Tarn region, would be lovely, and there's lots of, you enjoy the sunshine, you've got a pool in your back garden, all
Unless
very
you're in
lovely.
Cast, where it only rains.
Unless you're in Cast, Cast or Albi, where Jack Wetton looked into his swimming pool one morning and saw a dead rat at the bottom. And it is large. And it's like the caption he put on his story was like, just the fella just fancied a morning dip.
A foie gras up rat.
Yeah.
That's incredible. That is amazing. Is it Jack Wetton who's sort of on a dual Albi Cast kind of player share deal? Yeah,
so I don't know where that swimming pool is, but I assume it's in the Tarn region somewhere.
Yeah, wow, that's incredible.
It looked like a lovely, glorious day. So it looked like a lovely day for a swim. Yeah.
You just need to be able to do it.
Yeah.
I thought rats were quite good swimmers. That's obviously had a big lunch. The other bits I saw that were quite fun, a couple of signing bits. It sounds like the Menoncello to Toulouse is done or doing, which is just what they need actually, because they're sort of struggling a little bit with their player depth.
Well, that'll be because Peter Aki's contract runs up at the end of the season, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
long-term replacement Peter Aki over the hill at 32, whatever old he is.
It's still ludicrous. I mean, incredible signing. Assuming it goes through, and then unless there's like some sort of Eberiche Eze like last minute swoop from. Good if Cast came in last minute there, but I don't think they've probably got the funds to do it. Another slightly more niche one, Jack Iscaro. I don't know if you've heard of this guy. He's just signed as a medical joker at loose head for Stade Francais. He's a USA prop. Played in the sort of summer internationals. Unconfirmed whether it's to replace Thierry Fiber from his murdering at the hands of Perpignan. And then the two other bits I saw, Charles Ollivon was back for the first time in a long time this weekend, and Les Faders de Paris, which is the Toulouse Paris supporters club, look like they're having a great time.
Toulon Paris supporters.
Sorry, Toulon Paris supporters club. Look like they were having a brilliant time, adorned. There's about 100 of them in Charles Ollivon masks somewhere in like an Irish pub in Paris.
Nice.
Which was good fun. And then a little bit less directly French rugby, but French sport and rugby coming together. I don't know if you saw after their rugby championship win, Sia Khaleesi, Damien Willems and Eben Etzebeth were having dinner with Thierry Henry, which is quite rogue.
Wait, so Khaleesi is now an Arsenal fan?
he's everywhere. Well, no,
he's done them all. He's completed the set now if he's done Arsenal.
But he was also with all of the is it beIN Sports, like that team? Kate Abdo, and so there's quite an unusual photo. He's been around a few guys, but surely one of the more unlikely combinations I saw was the photo of Sia Khaleesi and Jamie Carragher, which I thought was quite a good one. So yeah, they were enjoying that win with a nice meal with Thierry. So well done, man.
Just on the Toulouse centres, I think it seems now that Emilien Gaeton will not be going to Toulouse or La Rochelle. He might well be staying at Pau, which is good because he's not going to he's guaranteed
good for everyone.
game.
I think that's good for France as well.
It's good for France because he can develop a relationship with Braubery. Gaeton can become, the next Valença and Creel, and with Atisogbe as well. We can have a full Pau back.
Ryan, Josian, Pontificu.
But yeah, I think just he gets game time. And I think that's something that, he's going to be battling with about 4 other world-class centres at Toulouse or even La Rochelle, really. Yeah, the sort of situation you could genuinely end up in 2 years' time having played half the games he would have at Pau. I think they referenced, I think on Rugby Rama, they referenced Jaminet, who obviously went to Toulouse and basically fell behind 4 other international fullbacks. And then still in squads and things with France and missing games through that. And I think that's brilliant. Good to see. And also brilliant for, want to see sides like Pau sustain themselves as proper top 6 contenders rather than just factories for other clubs. So that's wicked news. I don't know if that's confirmed, but it seems to be going that way. Yeah, is the word on the street. Well, I look forward to seeing Tommaso Menoncello and Emilien Gaeton lining up for Toulouse in a few months. Anyway, I think that rounds us off, Rob. You can follow us as usual at Rosbif Rugby. Email us. Been a little bit quiet on the emails recently. rosbifrugby@gmail.com. So do let us know. Had a lot of traffic on Instagram though, haven't we? Yes. So there's been a few. Slide into DMs. Slide in, you sneaky lot. In the meantime, enjoy a week of Nationale and the top 14, a well-earned break from Pro D2. We'll be back next week as ever. And in the meantime, that's been Rob, I've been Richard. We've been the Rosbif Rugby Podcast. Au revoir. Au revoir.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.